Hello, today we'll be talking about The Amazing Race Season 1, and we'll be talking about Joe and Bill. So we will be talking about the barriers that they have with other teams. So Joe and Bill have exhibited a lot of distorted listening behaviors. So distorted listening can come with very little negative effects or very negative effects. But there is also a rationalizing form of distorted listening. That is when you adapt or change something to better suit you or your needs. So for example, I have two examples. Example one is in episode 2 when Joe and Bill form an alliance with two other teams, which is Frank and Margarita and Rob and Burnham. So they form this alliance and they're in a little huddle and they are saying a little cheer, a little chant, and somebody says to the effect of the three of us all the way to the end, and they seal that with a fist bump. So that lets me know that Joe and Bill are listening and they are agreeing and they are aware that they are forming this alliance. But later on in this episode, they seem to backtrack and say that they so much don't really want to form an alliance with Frank and Margarita because they say, quote unquote, that Frank is uncontrollable. So this is an example of them rationalizing their decision because they're changing it and adapting it to what they want. Instead of agreeing to the full alliance of all three of them, they are changing and kicking out Frank and Margarita of that alliance. So this is a form of distorted listening. My second example is when they are outside the Pantheon and they agree to go inside in a certain order. Bill and Joe should have been the very last ones, but somehow end up being the first ones. And they justify or explain this with that they weren't trying to sneak in or anything. It was just right there. And again, that is a form of rationalizing what they agreed on. They agreed on to go in a specific way. They are all going for the clue, but they are trying to meet their needs first. They want to be the first ones to get that clue. They want to be the first ones to get to the next destination. So my advice for this, or my solution for this, would be working on their relational context. They need to start establishing and maintaining relationships. They need to listen to other teams, and they need to build a reputation with other teams because they never know when they will need them, especially in something like this, like a race across the world. They need to reciprocate also what other teams are doing for them, as in, you know, sticking up for them or helping them. And this forms a relationship, and this is also very rewarding psychologically, listening to other people and being there for them. They really need to work on that individually and together.